All right, good morning there. Sam here. We are at Tuesday morning, December 19th, and I had a request for a look from a member for a look at IOTA to the dollar. Now, this is right out of our member section for trades that we're in, trades that are setting up, trades that we took. And I've left this up here because a couple of reasons. One, I don't want anyone to get the impression that I'm sort of cherry picking trades here at all. This is a losing trade, but there are a few things to learn here. So one, of course, we have losing trades all the time. Anyone who tells you that they don't is maybe distorting reality or the truth. So this is just part of trading. This was a perfectly technically valid trade to take, but it doesn't play. It just doesn't play. And I thought there would be a few things to learn here. And now we're seeing, it's coming back. Now we're past our initial entry here. But I just wanted to take you through a losing trade and show you a few things that were warning signs here. And then some things to look at with regards to where we are now that may be some new opportunity. So the first thing is, let's go over here and look on CoinGecko. So IOTA, the Internet of Things, has a very high score here, right? So just to remind you, on the scale here, Bitcoin has a metric score of 95, Ethereum 84. So IOTA at 72. 72, excuse me. This is a major cryptocurrency. We got a market cap here of 13 billion. What's unusual about IOTA is that the majority of the trading is in the dollar. That's unusual for an alt. And the majority of that trading is on Bitfinex, or Binance is now coming on as well. And so if we look here, the bulk of that trading on Bitfinex is against the dollar. So I thought we'd look at it there, which is where we were. It was being traded from members in the room. So here was the setup. So we had this very clear 5-wave subdivision here to give us a 1. So we had, if you look back on it, I'd have to move it before the big ramp up. This thing has been trading just beautifully technically. So we had great subdivision. If I get this off, I can blow it up here for you to see it. There we go. So here's the start of it. Here's the low that the entire sequence started from. So we have this very pretty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into our 1. Whoops. Then I guess I got to keep that off, or it's going to skew the scale. Then if from that 1 high, we get our shallow, this pattern that we see all over crypto, where we get the A, B, and we get the shallow C. Doesn't get to a new low relative to the A, but we get a 2 there. 3, 4, 5 of the third, down for the 4, doesn't overlap the 1, so we get another impulsive wave. And then we finish that wave. Here you can see it here. That this 3, 4, 5 in green, we finished the 1 wave there with yet another just textbook perfect impulsive structure. So it's trading very, very technically. So all good signs here. And then from that 1 high, so 1 relative to our low here, up to our 1 high, we get this, well, I guess I got to change that. We get this sharp ABC. I think I've changed the scale. So, and look, yet again, so the C wave does not get below the A wave low, just as we did back here. So this, again, I've mentioned this a lot in recent videos because we just are seeing it over and over again in crypto. We're getting these truncated C waves. Now, it does go right into the pocket of the Vegas wave, which was pretty. So here was the setup. So if I open this up now so you can see why we were looking for that trade. So here's our 2 low. We go yet again. We get an extended 5th, but we get a very pretty 1, 2, 3 with good subdivision. Here's the 4, not overlapping the 1, and then we get an extension in the 5th to complete the 3rd. So given that, we would take our low here from our 2 up to our 3rd. And so here's our low. So we get the ABC. As I recall, this also had a good. So you can see the A wave. We get a perfect ABC into the B. And as I recall, now we're going back a little bit in time. So from that low, from our A low, yeah, we went right to just a tick before, so we get a little front run on the B, and then we go exactly to the algo target, right? Just textbook algo trading there, right to the tick. So we get that pop there. We're at, for the 4th. That's we're not outside of a normal range here. You more typically would see it between the 38 and the 50, but the algos wanted their target, and they get that, and then look at the rip off of that. So just, again, just very technical trading here. So from that, we get this, choppy one wave. So take note in here now. So this becomes a leading diagonal. We get the overlap of the one. So the anticipation here is that with that overlap, we have the diagonal. We know a diagonal only found in a one wave or an A wave, a leading diagonal only found in a one wave or an A wave. So we get the 3, 4, 5 up into the one wave high here for what appears to be a very solid count here with a 1, 2 setting up here. So given that, as you know, there's everything you see here should be absolutely standard practice if you are either a member following my training or you're a subscriber watching YouTube videos. I get a very solid 1, 2. We get a deep retracement for that 2. So let me take some of this off just so you can see the chart a little bit better. So here's our algo to the tick. So here we go for our 1. We're anticipating the 2. So here's the 4 low. We get the clean leading diagonal into the 1 wave, A, B, C. We get a deep wave 2. Now, we know that the highest probability for a wave 2 is between the 50 and the 618, but they can go, and often do go, as deep as the 786, which is what we see here. So we get the turn here right, yet again, note the Vegas wave, right into the Vegas wave for the 2 wave. And then we get this little choppy action here. So we enter it right here, anticipating the 3rd, right? And by we, I mean myself, members that followed that trade. So we enter it there, look, and we get the initial reaction. Now, here's where the lesson is. So the anticipation is here, and you can see it's been marked off. So the anticipation is if that's my 1, 2. So let me pull this off. So if that's, clear it up yet again for you. So let's recreate it as though we were looking at it from that point. So here's the 1. Here's the 2. Okay, so you can see the hot boxes that were drawn. So we were looking for, at a minimum, so here's your corner pocket, right? So you've seen these be successful many times, and so it's good to show you one that doesn't work out, because that's welcome to trading. That's part of the reality of this. So from here, we have 80% probability, 80%, right, leaving 20% that we make the median line. When we get this reaction here, the fact that we don't make the median line is the first warning sign as we start to sell off and we go back and we start wicking the prior highs. Because the expectation here now is with a 1, 2, if this is going to be a 3rd, can't be a diagonal. It's got to be an impulse wave. So we can't, even though we could get a diagonal in the 1 of the 3rd, we can't get an overlap of the 3. So if this had been the 3, we can't get an overlap here. So this starts to fail here. So Andrew's median line trading principle number 4. Now we spent a lot of time working through Andrew's training and trading principles, so that you recognize what's happening here. So this trading principle number 4 is a failure to make the median line, sets up a reaction move equal to or greater than the prior swing. So if we were measuring it, what that's telling you is that the length of this swing here, if we're not going to make the median line, which 20% of the time we won't, that we're going to get a move equal to or greater, and you can see that's exactly what we get here. It's a little bit longer than this move here. So that's the failure swing. So the stop is hit, losing trade, small loser, right? I don't let the market hurt me. So a small loser here nonetheless, right? Nobody likes to get stopped out, but it happens all the time. Get used to it. Here was the target. So we had a first target here with a hit, looking for a hit of the median line. Then the upper target was up here looking for that most common statistical range for a 3rd between the 1618 and the 175. But we just don't get it. We don't get it. We get a failure. So stopped out, losing trade. Let's take that off. So where are we now? Well, we can't now call this a 1, 2 because we've already overlapped the 2. So we have to reevaluate. So those pivots are not significant to what we're seeing here now any longer. So we pull this off and go, Okay, well, if it's not a 1, 2, could my 2 be over here? Could that play? Let's take all of this off. So what could we have here? So let's look here. So let's just measure it, because we know we have a good pivot here from the algo target getting hit. You know, it's a little sloppy. I don't love it. It's still technically, you know, as long as we don't overlap the start of it, this 4 low here, you know, it's certainly not pretty. So let's throw the pitchfork on it from the other direction. Now, you could make the case here that you get the same issue here. Well, pardon me. From this side here, so we set up the corner pocket trade from this direction. But yet again, we don't make the median line. So the expectation is that this is going to be a failure, that we're going to make the median line. So yet again, just as we did here, a failure to make the median line, trading principle number 4 from Andrews, is that failure sets up a move equal to or greater than the prior swing. So this move now, the expectation here is that the length of this move will be exceeded by this move. So all we're going to need is a pivot, a print above that swing high, and we have a move greater than that swing. So we're getting failure swings relative to the median lines in both directions. So sideways chop, uncertainty. Technically, we still can have a 2 wave here. So if I pull this off, and just out of curiosity, we don't check the alternates here. So if I come over here, I look at the shift, too steep. Let's go to the modified shift. You know, either way, it's, you know, you could make a case here that you went back up, you tap the median line, coming back down. Now we're to and through. It's sloppy trading. Either way, it's just technically sloppy. Can this be a 2? Yeah, it still can be a 2. It's not the prettiest 2, but you could make the case for this being an ABC. All right, that technically we're not in violation of any Elliott rules here. It's a very deep ABC, but you know, technically you could make that case. Now here's where, you know, it makes sense to maybe step back on this and look again as to where we are. Well, we know we still have a solid 1, 2, 3, 4, and we may have complexity here. It's possible that we're going to end up relabeling here, but I don't think so just yet. So let's go back and revisit where we started. And this can be a good exercise as well, because we know we had good pivots there. Well, now take a look here. So what seems to have happened here is we've had to come back and test this 50 and check it again. So we still have a 4, we still have a 1, we get a very long ABC that potentially still could play here. This still could play as a 1, 2. We've got this very, very long sideways correction here. We maintain these targets, but I've just got to move everything over. So let's get all of this over here. All right, so these boxes are not relative anymore, so we can get rid of those. So here's this prior box. This one just has to move over. So this algo target is still valid. So from this pivot low here of our 2 to our 3, we're still trading here. This has yet to be met. So this remains a potential target. So if we measure that out as we did previously, looking for the length of 1, projected from what now could be our 2, well, now we get an interesting overlap here. So we get this big range up here. So we have the algo target here, and then we have the high probability zone for that wave 3 relative to this 1, 2. Now, so we'll just, you know, move it over here. So we get this target up here. So now would you know, you could still draw this. We've got new pivots we're working from. Now let me get original back on that. Now take a look at that. Okay, so there's your target. So if this is 1, 2, here's our target up here, here's our median line. We know we still maintain this, even though we had one failure attempt at it, that we have an 80% probability from here of getting to the median line, right? Those are the odds that I like to play. 80% odds of getting there. Now look at that line up with our algo target from this 50 that remains unresolved, still not there yet, with our high probability zone. So this is very tradable. Now looking here, this is you can make a case here. You've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'd be starting a diagonal Potentially, you've got a diagonal underway here into the one wave of the third wave. That's potential, but we don't really know yet until this shows a little bit more. We get a little bit more data. You know, it's a sloppy count, but it's there nonetheless. You could still be holding this with this as your target. You know, I'd have to probably go down to the 15-minute here. You may have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to create a diagonal. It's not the prettiest count that I've ever seen. So what I'd look for here now is I would want to see some sort of a pivot get made here, and the next opportunity, if you're not still long from this first attempt, which some of you may be. If you're not long here, I would be just waiting for a pivot and just trying to get some decent entry here where I could get a 50. So, you know, maybe you get a pullback here with this as your target. You know, it may just be that we're not gonna get a piece of this one. So I'd be under the 786 because you put you just a few ticks under that low. Maybe we get a little pullback here, and you know the opportunity is right here at the 50 for some sort of a sloppy one. So that you'd be trading off of the potential that you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 getting ready to get started here with a rather ugly diagonal underway for your 1. You know, it's not the prettiest count that I've ever seen, but you're starting to get traction here. So where's the opportunity? Well, you got to wait for it. If you want to get long here in IOTA to the dollar, you got to, well, let me rephrase. I would be waiting for a pullback, right? I mean, you might just, you know, jump in there right now because you're very bullish. But, you know, as a trader, I'm always looking for where can I get long with low risk that has all of the ingredients that I'm looking for. Price, pattern, structure, a time component. You know, do we have the right kind of symmetry relative to what the count has been doing? You know, this is a very simple correction. This is very complex. And we're getting outside of the norms of, you know, this, I mean, so this actually 1, 2, if this is our 4, this 1, 2, I mean, this plays. This definitely could play. But I wouldn't just be a buyer here. I'd wait for the next pullback, looking for the third of the third. That's your money-making wave. So if we get it, great. There it is for you. If not, you know, sometimes you just miss them. Or you just get stopped out and you don't get a good, clean entry with the conditions that you look for. That's just the reality of trading. You're not going to get everything. A lot of things to choose from. Certainly today, a lot of things to choose from because we've just got a sea of green across the alt. So a lot of opportunity right now. This not the cleanest looking trade I've ever seen, but if you particularly like this project, there's eventually going to be a retracement here. You would think there'll be some sort of retracement here which would allow for another low risk, reasonable return reward scenario where you can get those kind of conditions where you're not taking too much risk because of this kind of complex count that we're getting here. So that's what I see. You know, certainly we got good targets up above, and you know there's plenty of opportunity between here and there. So one to watch. I'd be waiting for that little pullback. But, you know, for right now, you sit and wait. You put an alarm on it, and you see if you can get a chance to get in. All right, guys, I'll wrap it there.